Okay, so it's Friday. It's the first Friday of the apprenticeship internship period. So what I want to talk to you guys about today is how to use your notebooks a little bit. So we've already
Yes, sir.
covered execution. That's what we started with. We read
Sure.
how to build systems. Then we kind of talked about how we're building execution using that how to build
Yes, sir.
systems idea. So right now this is an experiment. So now let's talk about how we end that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Um, Morning, Sejal. Morning, sir. Pa, 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 pa.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. Okay. Does everyone have a notebook?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So the notebook is going to be really, really key. And so we're going to talk. There's two notebooks things. One, we're just going to talk about the main one today. Do I have mine with me also? Okay. So ideally, you have some kind of notebook. And what we're going to use this notebook for is to capture a bunch of the stuff that we're going to work on, so that we have it kind of like a physical artifact of it. There are a few things we're going to do. So this will come later. इसके लिए pages छोड़ देंगे अभी के लिए. इसके लिए भी अभी pages छोड़ देंगे. इसके लिए भी अभी pages छोड़ देंगे. So initially, just leave like 6 pages. Okay. After that, we're going to use basically the whatever kind of systems we build, we're going to use the notebook to kind of capture that. And also, one really crucial part of the notebook is what's going to happen is you're going to do all this work. Okay, इस हफ्ते साहिल ने इस पे काम किया है अपने पोर्टफोलियो पे. अगले हफ्ते कुछ और करेगा और क्या होगा कि तुम भूल जाओगे तुमने किस चीज पे काम किया था. And then when you have interviews or when you need to talk about your work, it's going to be a little bit hard because you won't remember exactly what you did. And so the one idea of the notebook is just to capture kind of what you're doing. The other idea of the notebook is just to help you in job interviews. The other thing is later on we're going to do this course called Finding Good Work. Okay. In that, the idea is ki how do we find work that kind of really, really speaks to us and we find meaningful and we find energizing? And one of the clues we're going to use for that is to figure out what work we've already liked doing. So programming is like not a singular job, है ना? Like उसमें थोड़ा design भी होगा, उसमें meetings के लिए भी जाना पड़ेगा, उसमें architecture करना पड़ेगा. There'll be a bunch of different things going on. Uh, what we're going to try and figure out with this is what kind of tasks make you feel most engaged and energized. Okay. And if we have a log of that, then we can, it's almost like तुम्हारा एक product है and you want to see कि जब, when is that product doing well, then you want to double down on that kind of thing, right? So when you need to figure out what work really excites you, speaks to you, engages you, a really good clue for that will be what has done that for you in the past. Okay. So this is almost like a data collection exercise that you're doing on yourself कि मैंने कौन से काम किए जिससे मुझे बहुत एनर्जी मिली, जिससे मुझे बहुत मजा आया और कौन से काम मुझे करने पड़े जो मुझे इतना मजा नहीं आया. So this is, does that make sense? So once you have that data, then you'll be in a much better place to be able to make like kind of good decisions about where to go next. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So that's this good time journal. Um, So monthly goals ये अभी नहीं करते हैं. Weekly planning ये अब थोड़ी सी करना. So now the execution system that you're running also, you can start doing that here, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Okay, one more reason while we do this notebook thing is on a weekly basis, ideally, I want you guys to share what you're working on. Okay, like इस हफ्ते तुमने 5 चीजें की, like लोगों को बताओ कि मैं ये सब कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है.
Yes.
उससे बेसिकली एक ऑडियंस होना बहुत औसम होता है. Agar abhi you guys are like fairly young, in your early 20s, if you start building an audience now, and you do this regular, and almost like the secret, the very silly secret to building an audience is to just post regularly,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And if you get to 25, 30, and you have like a big audience, like life will be so much easier for a few reasons. One, if you decide to like launch your own companies or products, you'll have an already built audience that knows your work, kind of, gets where you're going, gets where you're coming from. And so then to sell to that audience or find potential customers in that audience will be really easy. Even if you don't want to do that, if you have an audience, there's a high likelihood that those people can recommend you for jobs. Those people may be in a position to
Yes,
hire
sir.
you for jobs one day. Collaboration, whatever you want to do, if you have like a audience, or you can think of it as an audience or a network, either way. But having that in your mid 20s would be really nice. So mid 20s, 30s, and it'll keep compounding. That's one of those things where you get like very great exponential returns. So one thing that this will allow you to do is कि हर हफ्ते तुम लिख रहे हो कि मुझे ये अच्छा लगा, मैंने ये किया, उसी की फोटो लेके you can share it, or you can use that as a source to create stuff that you can share very easily, because you'll already have a very good kind of visibility into what you're doing. Um, okay. So those are kind of the few reasons that we kind of want to use the notebook. Um, and so the idea for today is, this week you probably didn't do your planning in your notebook. Okay. Actually, let's take a pause and let me show you my notebook. So this is my notebook, A4, A5 unruled, index, blank page. Then this is my life, uh, personal constitution, life view. ये क्या है? What I think about as good work, and then these are my roles. This is all like, these are all kind of included in different courses, which we'll do eventually. So you'll end up like having all this, but for now you can leave this area blank. Then this is my legend. So basically, in this system, you can like change. I'll show you. The legend will make sense in a second, but basically, like, what symbols do I use? So this is an event. This is a task. This is a completed task. This is what? Oh, event दो बार लिख लिया है. Important, gratitude, deep work, stuff that I like work that I like doing, work that I didn't like doing. And then you can add your own, right? So as you kind of do this system, you can add your own, like, basically shorthand. So you don't have to write everything down. Learning backlog कि मुझे क्या क्या सीखना है. ये क्या है? Long term goals, monthly planning. Then this is where my like regular kind of thing starts. So I just normally make a, and there's one more thing that we learn, which is called, as part of deep work, it's your end of day kind of shutdown routine. So that's when I write this notebook. So I'm like, oh, I did two deep work sessions. I co-worked with someone which I liked, wrote M0 course modules which I liked, had a couple of calls that went well. I deployed a website and I did design course. Oh, and I got design course feedback. Okay. So this is kind of like a week. Then at the end of the week, normally I write a little review. How did that week go? What things could I have done better? What went well? That kind of thing. Okay. So that's kind of what it is. So what I want, ये क्या अच्छा ये मैंने काट दिया था. फिर यहाँ पे मैंने कुछ ऑफिस का एक sketch बनाया है. So you can generally use this as your notebook, right? Eventually change whatever you want. You can change kind of the format, you can change what you write. But again, based on how to build systems, for now, just go with this. Okay, this is my best current guess of how this will work for you. But eventually, as you move on to later stages, you'll be able to change this on your own. Okay, but it's so nice. Like, I don't know, मुझे तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि मेरे पास बहुत like nicely written record है. मैं खुद, I'm not very good at sharing. So, but maybe if you guys share this week, then I'll also share. But like, this was my week. तो कल तक भी भर दिया था मैंने. हाँ. Yeah. So this is the idea of the notebook. So what I want you to do this week is, let's take a look at this. So I don't know if you'll have this because you don't have like a list of your tasks. But these are questions you can answer. This week, what did I learn? Was there anything I unlearned? What did I initiate? So the idea here is, uh, yeah, what did I start on my own that no one was forcing me to do? What independent work did I start? Right, I think, yeah, that's just a kind of thing that we want to build. Write down anything you're grateful for. This work, WPLH scores, we can skip that for now. We haven't done that course yet. Um, this thing, ये लिख लेना, which activities are engaging and energizing and which are not. Um, how did I execute? So this is kind of the feedback step of the execution system. इसका मैं ये लिखा देता हूँ. इसमें ये questions थे. अरे वो delete कर दिया नहीं है. So for the execution, I had put these systems, these questions. Did you manage to plan your week? Uh, did you get distracted? And if you got distracted, is there something that you noticed about what happened to distract you? And what changes can you make? And overall, how did you execute your week? Okay. So you can incorporate this as the feed reviewing step जो execution system का है, उसके questions ये हैं. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay. And then the last thing, this. This is very crucial for me. So I'd really, really like you to write this and be honest about it. Okay. If you're doing the apprenticeship, which you guys are, how did the week go for you? Okay. Out of 5, how did the week go for you? Uh, this is really important for me because you can think of the apprenticeship as a product,
Yes, sir.
right? And if the apprenticeship is a product, and again, you guys will learn this, but basically, whether your users are kind of enjoying your product or not is a really key thing that you want to keep an eye on and you want to change it, right? So for me, my only goal is to keep this number ideally around 4 or 4 plus for everyone, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
what if you guys can do this, like this is my ask for you, can you write this down? And then when you're done writing this whole thing, just share it with me. That way I'll have a kind of visibility into how the week is going, like how the apprenticeship is going for you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So just to recap, I think मैं लिख ही लेता हूँ इसको. What I want you to do is take your notebook, leave 6 pages, leave, let's say 8 pages in the start. Okay. Then write your weekly review for your first week. So just start by writing weekly review, uh, week of Jan 20th का week था ये शायद. हाँ. Then write what you did, what you learned, uh, then there is the execution system. Uh, कहाँ लिखूँ इसको? Hmm. Hmm. Uh, yes. Okay. Uh, oops, sorry. So those are the instructions. So take your main work notebook, leave 8 pages blank in the beginning for all the stuff that will come later. Write weekly review week of Jan 20th. Today's everybody knows what this means. It's like whatever. String interpolation. Um, then for the week, what you did, what you learned, execution system review. This may be very kind of, ये छोटा सा होगा because हमने properly इस हफ्ते planning नहीं की. बट ये जो रिव्यू का सिस्टम है, ये हमें बहुत सॉलिडली इन प्लेस लाना है बिकॉज इसी से हमारा एग्जीक्यूशन सिस्टम चलेगा. अगर हमने पूरे हफ्ते कुछ भी नहीं किया, कुछ काम नहीं किया, कुछ प्लानिंग नहीं की, कुछ भी नहीं किया, as long as we do this thing, it's fine. This is the most important thing because this will drive and keep the whole system in health. And once you get used to doing this, all your other systems will follow. Like तुम एक ही साथ वो सारा रिव्यू कर दोगे, तो तुम्हारे सारे systems चलते रहेंगे. So getting this one thing that you do, either like the planning and the reviewing stage is the most important. Even if you miss planning, if you do reviewing and you're like, oh, मैंने planning नहीं किया इस हफ्ते, that's fine. Then the likelihood of you being able to do or pick that up when you need it is really, really high, right? So this is like the single most important step. It's building this, the feedback step, right? That will tell you the health of your system. That will tell you what steps you need to take. So it's really important that we just get used to this. And मेरे साथ क्या होता है, अगर मैं ये नहीं करता हूँ तो मुझे like अजीब लगता है. Like physically I feel a bit strange because I know कि ये बहुत important है और जब तक ये नहीं होता है मुझे चैन नहीं आता है. So this is a really really key step. जो बाकी हमारे सारे systems बनेंगे इसी चीज, like this is the basis of this review step. Later on, you can move this review step. You don't have to do it on Friday. You start doing a little more daily logging. So if this particular thing will become slightly less of a big thing that you do at the end of the week. You can do this with planning also. Again, as your systems mature, you can move this around, change it to whatever you want. Uh, but right now, I think let's try and do this on a Friday. So Friday evening or whenever you stop working on Friday, that time we do this. If you guys work on Saturday, that's a different case. We can talk about that. But yeah, so execution system review. And then this is my ask for you. If you're doing the intern apprenticeship, how did the week go for you out of 5? Right? 5 is I had the best week like of my life, like whatever. Like work is like, really good. And 1 is like, this was so boring. I didn't understand anything. And, yeah. And both are fine. Like, be honest. Don't, yeah, be honest. You don't need to inflate this number. What I'm looking for again as a product builder is like real feedback, right? How is it going for you? How can I make it better? Yeah. And then after you're done, just share a picture on the group so that I know you did it and I can also just see how the week went for you. Yeah. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cool. That I think was mostly what I wanted to talk to you about. Good stuff. हाँ, बस ये था. So yeah, and then yeah, if you meet in office hours, that's great. If not, what I want you to do for next week is to try and plan your week before Monday.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
किसी टाइम संडे या अगर आज ही करना है आज कर लो. Like at some point before Monday, I want you to have use the execution module. ये क्या आ गया यार? Handling ये ये अंदर कैसे चले गए? Okay. So planning. Hopefully, you have a list of tasks. Some of you may have list of goals also. Create steps and success criteria for each task. Schedule time on the calendar, right? So you have these tasks. You schedule time on the calendar. The description of the task block says what a good outcome looks like, and what steps are involved, so that when you go to execute the task, there's no like you're just in like dumb operator mode. Okay, at that point you're just a computer running an algorithm, right? You shouldn't have to ideally try to make as much of the decision making upfront as you can, so that then you don't get stuck. Because the moment there's stress or tension, there's a likelihood that you'll kind of escape into distraction. And anything that you need to be set up for that task, getting access to any systems, books, whatever else. Yeah. So ये रहा task breakdown और फिर अपने calendar को schedule कर दो. Okay. So yeah, once you've done this, then either today or on Sunday at some point, and ideally like be like मैं इस time पे करूंगा और वो अपने calendar में डाल दो. जैसे मैंने अपने calendar में Sunday पे डाला हुआ है. Sunday 7 बजे मुझे notifications आने शुरू हो जाते हैं. Make sure your calendar notifications are on, and so that you're, basically what you want to do is get used to being able to rely on our calendar. That if I give future Sejal some work, if I tell her Wednesday you have to do this, I can be confident that future Sejal will either do that work or will move it around. Like उसका कुछ तो वो कर लेगी. ये नहीं होगा कि मैंने उसको काम दिया और फिर उसने कभी कुछ किया नहीं, किसी को बताया नहीं और वो काम छूट गया. Right? Once we have that level of confidence in our ability to assign work to our future selves, then we can plan very, very happily. Right? Then everything becomes much easier. Right now, I don't know where you are in being able to trust your future self, but yeah, you need at least one employee to get you off the ground, and that has to be you. Right? So that's the idea of this. So just get used to a little bit. Oh, calendar पे कुछ है या तो मैं उसका कुछ करूं या उसको मूव करूं या उसका कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. मैं उसको ऐसे नहीं छोड़ सकता. And again, the systems that we build, again, we'll kind of reinforce this, but that's the place that we want to get to. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Awesome. Shoaib Sahil, very much appreciate your vocal and active participation. It helps to
Yes,
know
sir.
that what I'm saying makes sense. Okay. Anything else that anybody want to talk about right now?
सर मैं पूछ रहा था कि ऑफिस किधर है लाइक
Office. Okay, I'll answer that. Any work related stuff? Anything? Any
अभी
questions about क्या करना
no.
है? Sejal, clear? Oh, Sejal gone. Mohammed, makes sense? Okay. All right. Nobody else has any questions? Okay, so I'll stop this and we can share this and then we can